say ya dwene kwan ya ye befa so a sika kakra ye nya from eto mu ene ye koko ni gold ni timber ni ade a ye ton no yetimi e de aye bibi kakra ama na boa ye nyina. You know, so I suggested say, you know, those 22 countries mejidi say yes krapoa in terms of the diplomatic embassies e ade abeboa bebre mema on fato ho kakra mamia ohe Australia nyoma so ewa ha your friend Owen Jones, Australian High Commissioner. Australia ya krobia omu sika sinye krone fesen Ghana says omu obibia. I mean we are unemployed and mebunukra abaint mitwiauka sa kura no. The High Commissioner in Ghana is overseeing 8 other West African countries. Enti wona sebe nyankopon ehira omo sika bebre kura etimi afa kwan ya ombe cut costs. How much more yena ye bibi maya? Well, ye will be, but amamono na ama ehia be kan. I wouldn't say we are a poor country. Comparatively, Australia you know, it's problematic. Again, we have Norway ambassador ewaha. We have about 5 countries. Me for Rwanda, Africa, a BB ambassador oha. We have about 6 countries in Ghana. We have Namibia, omo ambassador oha. We have 5 countries. Na yesika sem enko ye nyoma enko ye na yem still ye pese ye maintain embassies at the time you know ahochire aba omaemu. Meanwhile ye embassy staff omo amanone se Burkina Faso, se Ivory Coast Faso, se Germany Faso, so ona more London ne Washington ne sometimes governments and sometimes they struggle to pay their rent. Imagine say ukrom aban ayu esi ho say kokro bi so ekodi dwuma bi na bosome beso 3 months 4 months wow ni mabrofo so omo de enya fe na obey landlord say oh Charlie this time round things are not well bronino no contract you know bosome ne so ogini sika. And then our staff get harassed sometimes. Reason being that we struggle to pay their rent. Odiase. Enti yase kwancha de efe. Sika. Sika eneto. Insoto enso for more day. Edi. Enti given the circumstances we find ourselves. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs there are other areas that we could make savings and use the resources from those savings to help build my Ghana. You see, yasasini. Inti kronos ye bechichiri na mana kro kama. Ene nese nyina ye to adwen. Iti kro nko ejina. Na ye hwe kwan ya ye befa so ye beboa ban na esikasem no ayeyi amaye. And don't forget also. Unkofo ya omo amanoni, a omo ye diplomats ne diplomatic staff. Renta ye tuani ade. Mene wa ye te Ghana hai. Meno etwo and and there are times we struggle to even pay some of these, you know, bills. I'm just saying, I don't know whether you follow the news from Nigeria. And Richie, almost close the defense section of the Ghana embassy, even though Sikano and yes, Sikabia. But it tells you, say, in Shishaya, a boy,
Matias na ye sa no enko ha ye ne sa amaya mai ya yonko fa because so maybe it's Burkina Faso wo hwe na nsen some ba ho the role our president played any said terrorism ama no homne so amama bintiase ani o ma benya ayonko fa bi e ba se ase na amusi e wo ha ye twam any sa ne ma na enko nko severe the relationship, that good relationship we have with them na wo chena nko na
good question. Na seven periasa. Enye akwesi bronia na nitirimo sum oba Africa or the line ebe draw maps nka ye ne Burkina Faso de nka nsusu ebe ne wo. Meka de gomba, ye de gomba ni. Uko Burkina Faso, one of the major languages is Mosi. Musi for kasa. Omoka mete. Meka de gomba. Musi for mo Burkina Nagana omote. Go to the Volta region. Angona Okotogwa. In Tianyana, we are all one people to begin with. The second most important thing is Africa memo. Yes, regional integration. Yes, young Cambo Munanye borderless systems near there because we are all one people. Near encourage trade. And why do we even need an embassy in a place like Burkina Faso where we pay the staff in dollars? We pay the allowances in dollars. We pay their rent in dollars. Why do you need an embassy in the Ivory Coast and all of those places? Because they are all within West Africa, one people. What do I say? And there's no way if we explain clearly to them, say, Charlie, times are really hard, so we need to downside. I'm sure they might even learn from us on how to make savings. I've also heard people raise issue about security concerns. So, because of the Sahel issue, Oko close to embassy in a place like Burkina, you're very saying terrorists. We are not in 1960. Neither are we in 1970 or even the year 2000. We are in 2025. And countries are using drone technology to conduct surveillance. And this is and
say my day in Fidie and the and no more share the coso asase so.
Exactly.
In here be our office and the bit me akacho.
Absolutely. And on issue of security, what we need to do is to train our people well, train immigration officers well, train police officers well, train military intelligence well, so that they can identify threats and nip those threats in the bud. But I don't think, if Ghana decides to close our embassy in Zimbabwe or Namibia, even though they've been our traditional friends, and some of these countries, near CC embassies in countries no more. In those days, we were fighting for independence for all of Africa until we wanted to strengthen the bond of friendship.
Okay.
And these embassies, Namibia say, we supported them a lot in their struggle for independence. Zimbabwe, Ghana supported them a lot in their struggle for independence. South Africa for near the day. But to say times have changed.
Okay.
Young Kufano, Embreki. But young my fauna, Ahonchiraba, Anna, as I say, dear. Mokana said,
the essence, na the fata.
Exactly. Women, kids are, sitting on the floor in schools. They can't get textbooks.
Okay.
And we're keeping embassies in places like Zimbabwe, in places like your friends in Namibia and Burkina Faso and other places. It doesn't make sense. Say open for Beko Hospital. Na onyampa en naso. Nese because of historical ties. We are keeping an embassy somewhere. I'll give you another example. Sweden. I Scandinavia, Europe. Yet omuni embassy yes, we need embassy. But we benefit from Sweden. Sweden's government scholarships are young, so many of them. Oko Finland, the same thing. Right? And countries like Germany, France and Belgium have showed us, Obi your neighbor, you don't necessarily need an embassy. Okay. France shares border with Belgium. Belgium doesn't have an embassy in Paris. Okay. Neither does the French have an embassy in Brussels. But trade is going on.
Okay.
There's free movement of people. Everything is going on.
One country, UAE, because social say trade between the UAE and Africa, especially Ghana, huge. And you suggested someone so close embassy.
So the suggestion is this: we have an embassy in Saudi Arabia. UAE for Saudi for I say Siamese twins. I say I don't know how to say this in tree, but they are
center for.
So Arabia and your mumu I say Ghana for ne Togo for.
I second in it credit.
And I second in it So the ambassador in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, can have oversight of UAE, of Bahrain, of Kuwait, of Oman, and other places.
Okay.
And indeed, there are a lot of Ghanaians working in places like the UAE, etc. What I say, but you don't necessarily need an ambassador there. You can you could appoint, in what they call in diplomatic terms, a consul general who would oversee
the visas and other issues,
and the concerns of Ghanaians in these places. Now, and cut it down on the waste. There's so much waste.
Yeah, brain into yeah, bekona mamibisa ebasa meka say the first point to call foreign affairs ministries. Have you been able to communicate with Yera Samokuji to Ablakwa?
So the thing is the president's call. Is the president, even though in consultation with his cabinet that would have to make that decision. But this was an open letter to the president, and I'm sure it has come to the attention of the foreign minister. And it's an issue we are all discussing, because then fire home and second you are yedebesi esuku adanya, it affects us. Second you are yedebeye adanya. N1 kwai, I don't know say what was it asati tutu.
Yes.
Ninyina eze yedisikaye. If we can make savings somewhere else and put the money to good use over here, I believe say idea every boy.